Hey y'all, I'm back for my October reading wrap up. Stay tuned. Welcome back to another Books with Kimberly video. Today I'm doing my October reading wrap up. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Let's get into the wrap up. I read a total of 7 books this month. 5 of them were audiobooks and 2 of them were ebooks that I read. So the first ebook I read was Saving Ruby King by Catherine Adel West. I did a full review and discussion of this book, so go check that out. In my review, I talked about not being sure if I gave this book a 3 or a 4. I give it a 3.5, which rounds up to a 4. So I give this book 4 stars. The second book I read, which was an ebook, I actually just read this weekend, which is The Mothers by Brit Bennett. Now, Brit Bennett is the author of The Vanishing Half. The Vanishing Half was her second book, but the first book I read from her. The Mothers was pretty good. I gave The Mothers 3 stars. I was about to say 4, but no, I gave this book 3 stars. So the book The Mothers is about 3 teenagers. The main one the story is about is Nnedi Turner. Nnedi Turner lost her mother in a very tragic way, and she finds comfort in a relationship with Luke, who is an older guy, not too much older, but he's an older guy. He is the son of the pastor of the church that her mother and father and she attend in California. Now, through this relationship, she becomes pregnant and she decides to terminate this pregnancy, which Luke did not like, and so he ended up breaking up with her. And so the book finishes out that summer. So we go through her years of college and we learn what happens to Luke after the loss of his child. What I liked about this book was the writing style. Brit, she knows how to really go there, intrigue you. What was quite interesting is how these 3 main characters, a lot of their life, they just really needed mothering. I feel like a lot of their issues could have been fixed with some good mothering, and that's what they were lacking. What I did not like about this book, and why I only give it a 3, is because I did not see any character growth. It was like as soon as Nadia decided to have this abortion, her life just started sinking. So did Luke's. And by the end of the book, I wasn't hoping for a happy ending, but I was definitely hoping for some character growth, for these people to take some accountability, for them to start making some good decisions and stop just drowning in their grief and sorrows and the things that happened to them in the past. But none of that happened. There really was no character growth from any of them, and so I really did not enjoy this book. One of the audiobooks I listened to was Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. I know I probably said her name so wrong. Please forgive me for that. But she is an African author, and you guys, this book was really interesting. It's considered middle grade, which explains why the characters were like 12, 13. It's about this young girl who is an albino child. She is 12 years old. Her name is Sunny, and she finds out that she is a witch, but in Africa they call them lepers. She is a leper and she has magical abilities, and her friends, they go through this journey of learning more about their abilities and how to do magic, and as well as there's this evil that is lurking around, and by the end of the book they have this battle with this evil villain. I think I gave this book 4 stars just because it was a cute, lighthearted, easy listen. I really did like the main character. I liked all the characters in the book. My only thing with this book was that I wanted more. I wanted it to be a little heavier in the magic. It was a lot of telling, but not a lot of showing. Like, I wanted more action. I wanted to see them using their abilities more. I wanted more spells and more potions. This is the first book in a series, so I'm sure the following books have a lot more action in them. It was really interesting. A lot of the magic was based on folklore. There were a lot of African words used, so that was very interesting. So I definitely loved it. It was a lot of just all black, really good. 2 of the audiobooks I listened to are part of a series of 7 by Stephanie Nicole Norris.
The first book was No Holds Barred, and the second book was A Risque Engagement.
These 2 audiobooks were really good. I gave them 4 stars. They were heavy on the romance. The main characters, the men, they sounded very fine. The women were beautiful. And it was just a lot of romance. Like, I mean, one of the characters flew out to Africa. There was like rock climbing, romantic dinners, there was like these men taking up for their women, and I really enjoyed it. What kept me from giving them 5 stars? Well, besides one of the characters being an AKA and me having to hear 2 very loud skiwis in my ear, I didn't want to hear all that. The characters were a little too perfect. Like, they just were very perfect, no flaws at all. And just after reading books by Talia Hibbert, like romance, the characters don't have to be perfect. They can be a little flawed. Perfect body, perfect jobs, perfect family, perfect background. I want a little flaws there. But a little bit about what these books were about. Both of them were a man, a woman, romance, them getting together. This book series is about 7 brothers. They're septuplets. I think that's what 7 is, septuplets. Each brother is gonna have a book. Another thing I do not like is that, well, I'm not gonna say I don't like it, but I noticed that you get introduced to who each brother is going to be dating in the next book very early on within one book. And I know that sounds confusing, but basically what I'm saying is, like, in the first book, the main character had 2 best friends, and these 2 best friends met her boyfriend's brothers. And so within the next couple books that these 2 women are going to fall in love with 2 of the brothers. And then in the next book, another woman was introduced, and this woman had a connection with one of the brothers. So you already know that her and that brother are going to have their own separate book. And I mean, that's cute because it does have you wondering, like, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen between Okorafor and the brother that she connected with. But I also like a cute meet. Like, the first book, it opens up with the girl opening up her door and her hearing like this sexy voice. And she closes the door and she doesn't know who it is, but she just knows that voice was sexy. And then when she's having breakfast, she hears the voice again, and like the looks and the voices just connects, and they have this immediate attraction, and the chemistry is there. And see, that's what I want. Like, I want 2 people to meet and then it just be sparks all over the place. I just want more of just like boy meets girl randomly. It just seems like, girl, how many friends you got? Like, you got 6 girlfriends that you can hook up the other brothers with. Like, let's just put some randomness in there. I like that too. The next 2 audiobooks I read are a part of a trilogy, and these books were written by Christina C. Jones.
The first book was Getting Schooled, and the second book was Pulling Doubles.
I also give these books 4 stars. They were cute little romance novels. And one of the things I really liked about these 2 books that I did not get in the other books was that these characters did have flaws. We had one character who she had a illness in the second book, and in the first book, the guy actually had a prosthetic leg because he was a war veteran, had received a Purple Heart for his service in the army. So it's really, really cool that these, they were gorgeous people, beautiful women, gorgeous, fine men, but they still had those little flaws that they had to overcome in this story. I really enjoyed this romance. It was cute, flirty. Both of them were pretty much the same, which is there's a woman and there's a guy and they're bickering, and between that bickering there's this chemistry, this tension building up until they decide to have a casual, very casual relationship with no strings attached. And then by the end, of course, the real sparks fly. What I did not like about this book is, even though it was a romance, I didn't get those dates and dinners and bringing so and so flowers. I think there were flowers brought to one of the characters because she took sick, but it wasn't a getting dressed up and going to have a fancy dinner. Like their romance was really quick. It started off casual and then it's just like, I have feelings for you. Very rushed at the end. And I didn't like that. I love to read about the dates and the in and outs. And I think one element that was in both of these books, they were like the exact same book almost, that hindered that romance for me was the fact that in both of these books, the main female character, there was someone else she was dating who was a jerk. And so there were a bunch of run ins with this jerk. And I'm like, you're writing dates that this woman is going on with this jerk. And it's taking away from the real main male character that she is supposed to be falling in love with. And so once he's out the picture, that's when she's able to really freely give into her emotions and feelings for the main male character. And I just felt like throwing in that ex-flame or the guy she was dating right before she met this guy, I felt like it was very distracting. I wasn't really too happy about these. But those are the books that I read. I read all 7, and I'm so excited to continue my reading journey. So thank you all for tuning in to another Books with Kimberly video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.